Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Srikanth here from Ayur Universe, India's largest wellness portal offering preventive wellness, ailment management, online signature programs in yoga, Ayurveda, and naturopathy for global customers since 2016. Ayur Universe currently hosts more than 300 wellness centers in India and abroad, with a large presence in India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal, planning to global presence in the coming years. Customers from more than 65 countries have booked their wellness programs through ayuruniverse.com. We are approved by Department of Tourism Karnataka, Incredible India, and member of Global Wellness Institute, California. Today, we are hosting a webinar in collaboration with Shreyas Yoga Retreat on the topic prevention and management of psychosomatic ailments through Ayurveda. Just to give a brief introduction about Shreyas Yoga Retreat, Shreyas in Sanskrit means all-round excellence. Shreyas is guided by the defining philosophy of Atiti Devo Bhava, meaning treat every guest as God. They follow an integrated approach to wellness, combining yoga, Ayurveda, and naturopathy. They have 12 cottages in a sprawling 25 acres property to serve maximum 27 guests. They grow ingenious organic vegetables. Guests are served by 86 staff who practice yoga every day and live the philosophy of Shreyas. Staff serve the guests as spiritual experience. 70% of the staff have been with Shreyas since the inception in 2004. Shreyas is also a member of Relay and Shatai. Today we have Dr. Manjula with us, who will take us through the topic. Dr. Manjula completed her Ayurveda in year 2004, and she also went 1 year of internship from Sri Dharmasthala Manjunatheswara College of Ayurveda Hospital, Udupi. She holds a master's degree in counseling and psychotherapy from Manasa, Shimoga, Karnataka. She has 15 years of experience in the field of Ayurveda and treated various cases successfully using the wisdom of Ayurveda. Dr. Manjula has been part of Shreyas since 2017. Dr. Manjula, welcome you to this webinar.
Namaste.
Okay, so I've been hosting webinars for the last 2 months, and just to make sure that the audience understand what is Ayurveda, I have the first question to you. Can you let us know the science behind Ayurveda?
Let us start with the science word only. Ayusho Vedaha, the science of life, is how Ayurveda is explained. So this is the science which developed over thousands of years after repeated observations and examinations and experiments. So for any science to develop as a strong science, what is the basic thing we need? That is the observation, experiment, and experience. All these three components are in Ayurveda. So now let us go to a little more deeper. Ayurveda is considered as a very personalized, sustainable, and comprehensive body, mind, soul, sense healthcare system, which is metaphysical. We talk about science, it is always physical.
Okay.
The speciality of Ayurveda is it is metaphysical science. That is the speciality of Ayurveda.
Okay.
Two clear objectives. One is preventing and promoting and maintaining health of an individual.
Okay.
Taking care of well-being of a living being. And the second clear objective is prevention, curing and managing the ailments. That is the second clear objectives of Ayurveda.
Okay.
So as today's topic is how to manage and prevent the psychosomatic disorder, let us understand some basic principle which will give a fair bit idea what is a science.
Okay.
So the whole universe as well as our human body is made up of 5 basic elements. Akasha, ether, vayu, the air, fire, the agni, the jala, the water, and Prithvi, the earth. So when these five elements come in different combinations or proportions, they form the body along with the sixth component, which is
Okay.
Atma or life spirit or soul,
Okay.
which the life ceases.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when these five basic elements, when they combine in different proportions,
Okay.
perform all the functions in the body and mind, they are called as Vata, Pitta, and Kapha,
Okay.
which I think almost everyone is familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So they are responsible for all the functions of the body and mind.
Okay.
Let us understand a bit more about it. Physiologically, Vata is responsible for all the movement and transportation.
Okay.
It's responsible for all the digestion in the body as well as
Okay.
for the metabolism in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Kapha is responsible for the structure of the body.
Okay.
Into the psychological aspect of it. The Vata mind type, which is very much to the Rajasic property,
Mm-hmm.
is very dynamic,
Okay.
very enthusiastic, and very motivated, very quick in acquiring the knowledge, keeping the knowledge, and very quick to forget that knowledge also.
Okay.
One good thing is they have creative edge when it comes to problem solving.
Okay.
When let us take the Pitta mind type, which
Mm-hmm.
is very much similar to the Sattvic property,
Mm-hmm.
balancing and which is transforming or
Okay.
transformative.
Okay.
So they react very strongly to any challenges in the life
Mm-hmm.
into very strong and resolute actions.
Okay.
They are very well goal oriented and perfectionist.
Okay.
Coming to the Kapha mind type, which is very much to tamasic property,
Okay.
is responsible for conserving and stabilizing.
Okay.
So their thought process leads to methodical thought process and methodical action. They take
Okay.
step-by-step action.
Okay.
Only one thing is they always need the motivation and they always follow a routine.
Okay.
The physical and psychological way to understand how Vata, Pitta, Kapha are very important in our body.
Okay.
Said that, let me come to discuss another point also.
Mm-hmm.
These Vata, Pitta, Kapha, when they combine in different proportion, in
Mm-hmm.
different permutation and combination
Mm-hmm.
during the period of conception,
Okay.
when the sperm meets ovum,
Okay.
they form our psychophysical tendencies or constitutional phenotypes.
Okay.
That's what we are calling Prakriti.
Okay. Okay.
So, each person's Prakriti is unique,
Mm-hmm.
which makes the person very special.
Okay.
That's how Ayurveda is very individualized and customized and personalized.
Okay.
So, now coming to the other aspect of the science, the dhatus are the supportive tissues of the body,
Okay.
and malas are the waste products of the body. When
Okay.
excreted, they
Okay.
can keep the body and mind clean.
Okay.
And Agni is responsible for all the digestion and metabolism.
Okay.
And the Srotas are the biotransformation channels which are present in the body as well as in the mind.
Okay.
The reason behind explaining all these aspects is to explain what is health according to Ayurveda.
Mm-hmm.
So the equilibrium of all these, the dosha, the dhatu, mala, agni, along with a state of happiness or pleasure
Mm-hmm.
of senses, mind, soul, is called as health according
Okay.
to Ayurveda.
Okay.
If you observe closely, it is the psychophysical energy.
Okay.
Being's body is psychophysical energy, and when I am using the word body,
Okay.
including the mind and soul together.
Okay. Okay.
Separating them. So, for an Ayurveda physician, it's very important to go in detail,
Mm-hmm.
understand completely
Mm-hmm.
regarding the status of all these components.
Okay.
We can arrive at what is the Prakriti. Now,
Mhm.
I will be using the word Prakriti instead of using constitutional phenotype or psychophysical tendencies.
Mm.
Also, to understand the Vikriti, the imbalances,
Okay.
that a proper guideline can be formulated.
Okay. All right. So what I understood, you spoke about the doshas Pitta, Vata, Kapha. You said Pitta is related to Sattvic and balancing, Vata is tamasic and conserving, and you spoke about Kapha. You also spoke about the Prakriti being formed at the conception stage. You spoke about Dhatus, which is the supporting cells, Manas, waste, Agni, digestion, right?
Yes.
Now, can you go a little bit deeper and explain to us in layman terms,
Mhm.
what is psychosomatic illnesses?
Let us first give the definition, which is
Okay.
simple, which will make the things very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Let us take the word psychosomatic,
Okay.
comprised of two words,
Okay.
psychic and somatic.
Right.
Anything which starts with the spelling P-S-Y-C-H-E
Okay.
related to mind.
Oh, fantastic.
Anything
Okay.
which starts with the spelling S-O-M-A is related to body.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Psychosomatic disorders or ailments
Mm-hmm.
which are the physical manifestations of psychological reaction. In very simple words,
Okay.
man being the psychosomatic living being,
Mm-hmm.
almost 99.99% of the disorders can be categorized as psychosomatic disorders.
Wow.
That's one way to look to the explanation of psychosomatic ailment.
Mm-hmm.
Let us call it as PSD, psychosomatic disorder, for our easy understanding.
Okay.
One of the researchers, when I was going through very old one, which came in 1999 in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
They quoted almost 53.1% of the patients who attended their general OPD
Mm-hmm.
are suffering from psychosomatic disorders.
Okay.
So let us understand how to classify these disorders. We can categorize people in three categories who are
Okay.
suffering from psychosomatic ailments.
Mm-hmm.
People who has issues with real psychiatric illness leading to the physical illness.
Okay.
For example, if a person is suffering from bipolar disease,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he
Okay.
is getting diagnosed as having hypertension.
Okay.
This falls under psychosomatic disease. The second
Okay.
classification is if people having physiological or physical issues
Mm-hmm.
getting diagnosed for the psychiatric issues. For example,
Okay. Okay.
person get diagnosed as having cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It's very common he getting into depression, not a
Okay.
symptom,
Okay.
but as a disease which requires the medical attention. So
Okay.
with depression, the
Right.
classification is somatoform disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Psychological issues, now I will not use the word psychiatric,
Mm-hmm.
psychological issues manifesting as physical symptoms.
Okay.
Psychological issues manifesting as physical symptom. Let me give an example. A person who is having anger,
Okay.
what can be the physical system? Increased heart rate.
Okay.
Over a period of time, if that state is carried for months and years together, there is much chances he will get diagnosed for hypertension
Okay.
because
Okay.
of the pressure created by the anger.
Okay.
Okay. So now I will name some of the diseases where you can understand easily.
Mm-hmm.
Chronic fatigue, irritable bowel syndrome,
Mm.
this fibromyalgia,
Mm.
hormonal imbalances, where the diagnosis is written as unexplained.
Okay.
All these fall under somatoform disorder. So these are the three classifications. So there is one interesting study when it comes to psychiatric patients getting the somatic disorders. In India, a research says 21.5% of psychiatric patients, say bipolar depression, chronic anxiety kind of things, they suffered from somatoform disease also,
Okay.
of which chronic pain and hypertension are major ailments.
Okay.
So I would like to give an example to make it little more simpler. We can understand the definition a little more easily. At Shreyas, we had a guest who stayed with us for 12 days.
Okay.
With the complaint of sensitivity towards new paints and new carpets.
Okay.
The diagnosis, which was written in his report by his doctor,
Okay.
Unexplained sensitivities to the different chemicals for unknown reason was the diagnosis.
Okay.
But we thought there should be some reason, without nothing can happen. So a very elaborate consultation happened in the beginning.
Okay.
Then we started our Ayurveda therapies in the form of Nasyam. And we gave some single herb decoction in the form of Jatamansi.
Okay.
We advised our kitchen to give food cooked with less spices and a little more soupy.
Okay.
You can call it as sattvic diet or whatever.
Right.
And yoga team was taking the guests through various yoga processes. In the middle of this day, due to all this support, he could come out with the answer, the reason as old trauma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old trauma was the reason for this unexplained sensitivity towards new carpets and new paint. So once we understood more than us, once he understood that, it was little easy for him to with all this support. So once he went back, again we supported through emails, WhatsApp chats, there were follow-up online consultations, videos from the yoga team. With all this help, he continued his healing process. And he's almost, it's not completely gone, but it's reduced to very great extent.
Wow.
So understanding the word psychosomatic and how mind affects the body and body can affect the mind is very important to know the reason, is what I wanted to say. Nothing can come without a reason.
Fantastic. I mean, it's so easy to remember. Psycho means mind, somatic means body. And you also mentioned that 99.5% of the diseases are psychosomatic. I mean, that came as a big surprise for me. Then you also mentioned about you can, segregate that into three different areas: psychiatric to physical, which you gave bipolar as an example. Then you said physical issues turning out to impact your mind. You said about cancer. Then you spoke about somatoformed issues, psychological things which is affecting your physical body, like fatigue and hormone imbalances. It's a great example that you gave about a guest who stayed with you, sensitive towards new carpets, different chemicals for unknown reasons, which was relating to old trauma. Yeah. So that is like very interesting, very, very interesting. Okay. Now, tell me, what's Ayurveda's perspective on this, and how will disruption in mind affect the body and vice versa?
According to Ayurveda, the body, mind, soul, sense is a single entity.
Okay.
These four things cannot be separated.
Okay.
So our Ayurveda sage Charaka was explaining in very detail that Psychological issues can affect the body, causing the psychosomatic disorders. Physical issues can affect the mind, causing somatopsychic disorders. So it is very evident. This was explained 5,000 years ago.
Okay.
Now, let me go to little deeper aspect of it.
Okay.
Our one more very famous acharya or sage says that dukkha sanyogah vyadaya uchyate.
Okay.
So dukkha sanyoga, association of misery, is vyadhi.
Okay. Okay.
So now
Okay.
what is dukkha? What are the miseries? It can come to our life in three ways. Sometimes by our own, we will be the sole reason. Sometimes the external factors will be the reason along with us. So this can be understood in by three approaches.
Okay.
Paradha, Parinama, and Asatmendriyartha Sanyoga. So
Okay.
in Prajna Parada, there are two words. Prajna meaning insight. Aparadha means you can say the very strong word I can use as sin.
Okay.
Or transgression or whatever you can use for the easier purpose. So let us see what is prajna, which is very important to understand the psychosomatic disorder.
Okay.
This prajna has three components. Dhi, which is to acquire the new information governed by vata. Dhriti, regulating and processing the new information governed by pitta. Smriti, conserving and stabilizing the new information governed. Let us consider there is a transgression of all these three because of our own reason.
Right.
Then it gives to derangement or degradation of these three components.
Okay.
Degraded dhi can interpret the knowledge or receive the knowledge incorrectly, considering beneficial as non-beneficial, non-beneficial as beneficial. All delusions, hallucinations, all the disorders which is related to thought and perception fall under this. When there is degraded dhriti, there is inability to control the sense.
Okay.
So there is always a tendency to get attracted to the harmful objects.
Okay.
So when there is degraded dhriti, then we can see all these psychoactive substance abuses. Okay. Sexual disorders and behavioral disorders.
Okay.
All under this. And when there is derangement in the smriti, we retain the memory or retain the understanding of the knowledge what we acquire. So you can see that in dementia, delirium, all those which comes under memory disturbance.
Right.
So when this happens with our own knowledge, then that falls under prajna parada. Knowingly, we are committing certain mistakes.
Okay.
Blasphemy.
Okay.
Coming to the second aspect of it, parinama, which involves the time and action. For example, let us say if a flash flood happens and if a person's house gets washed away,
okay,
that if that person is of less mental strength, okay, of vata type, will fall into depression. The third approach is asatmendriyartha sanyoga, where there is misuse, there is disuse, there is overuse of senses. So usually this intellectual blasphemy and misuse of the senses happen with our knowledge. We are not using it properly. Okay. Only what is in our hands is most probably the parinama, the season changes or related changes, kind of things. These are not in our parinama. Okay. Or in our hands. So These three things are very important while we are understanding the relation between the body and mind, as well as their relation to the pathology of psychosomatic ailments.
Okay.
When these happen, they cause disturbances in the three doshas, which we are talking in the beginning, the Vata, Pitta, Kapha,
Mm-hmm.
and also in the Rajas and Tamas, which are
Okay.
as Manasika doshas,
Okay.
giving rise to the diseases.
Okay.
So I thought I will explain this using an example.
Sure. That help. Yeah.
We had a guest who stayed with us for 19 or 20 days
Mm-hmm.
with the complaint of lack of peaceful sleep. It is not lack of sleep, lack of peaceful sleep,
Okay.
gradual loss of memory,
Mm-hmm.
aches are the main complaints.
Okay.
This guest was holding a very important position in financial sector,
Okay.
favorable for many people, and he used to work for 18 to 20 hours a day for 5 days.
Wow.
Weekends were for relaxation. He had
Okay.
to do as far as his profession is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
When we examined it very closely, it revealed all the three are very evident. Prajnaparada.
Mm.
He needs some 7 to 8 hours of deep sleep.
Mm-hmm.
He placed his profession as his priority.
Okay.
So now with knowing, he was reducing his duration of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
He was very sure the usage of laptop,
Mm-hmm.
increased screen time is
Mm-hmm.
not for his eyes, his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He thought his profession is priority.
Mm-hmm.
So asatmendriyartha sanyoga, overuse of the senses.
Mm-hmm.
And parinama, you can consider the sleep which he is reducing in
Okay.
number of hours. That's why he ended up all the three. If you closely observe, there are physical symptoms.
Mm.
His
Mm.
lack of peaceful sleep, he was sleeping.
Mm. Mm.
Peaceful. And when he came to us, he was already under lot of painful analgesics, that is painkillers, and also for the sleep medication. He was under sleep medication.
Okay. Okay.
We did not question him for that, but we asked him to follow the sleep routine, that is contemplating before going to bed, having 7 to 8 hours of sleep, having more morning routine of getting up at particular time when going for the group sessions, yoga
Okay.
sessions. Then we introduced Tarpanam to nourish the eyes. We introduced Shirovasti and Dhara. And we also introduced some Lehyam, that
Mm-hmm.
is licables, which is sweet in taste. And of course, the food also played very important role. By all these, he could slowly understand he has to change the priority.
Right.
He is getting involved in all the three.
Mm-hmm.
It's very gradual process for him because of his position. It took little time, but at least the understanding of these happened at Shreyas.
Okay.
Once he went back, he changed everything, and he is the one who is now considers Shreyas as family.
Oh, fantastic.
Many of his relatives, friends who are having the similar issues.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Prajnaparada.
Fantastic. So it's interesting you said that Ayurveda looks at body, mind, heart, and the soul as a single unit. You spoke about Dukkha Sanyoga Vyadi and Pragna Aparada Parinama. You also spoke about Smriti Dhriti, Rajas Tamas. Interesting example of somebody who was suffering from having peaceful sleep, 18 to 20 hours of work, casual memory loss, who benefited from going through this Ayurveda treatments in Shreyas. Now, this is something that you spoke about. Somebody suffered because of a psychosomatic disease and then came to Shreyas and went through treatment and whatever has happened. Now, tell us something, doctor. What is Ayurveda's approach to prevention and management of psychosomatic diseases?
As I was telling, is it's a holistic approach. We have to approach holistically,
Mm-hmm.
considering body, mind, senses, and soul. Or
Okay.
change the order: body, senses, mind, and soul. That easier way to approach, as we cannot take them as separate entities, and we cannot treat them as a separate entities.
Mm-hmm.
This reminds me to quote one of the quotes from Ashtanga Hridaya, one of the major texts of Ayurveda.
Mm-hmm.
Agah prajnaparadhanam indriyopashamasmritihi deshakalatma vijnanam sadduruttasya anuvartanam.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Agah prajnaparadhanam. Avoid neglecting your insight,
Okay.
your inner knowledge. Tyaga prajnaparadhanam.
Mm-hmm.
Indriyopashamaha. Control your senses.
Okay.
Smritihi. Have correct knowledge of previous experiences, or retain the knowledge of previous experiences.
Okay.
Desha Kala Atma Vijnanam. Proper knowledge of place, Desha, time, Kala, and Atma. The Atma here you can consider as soul, or the Prakriti, or the genetic phenotype, or psychophysical tendency.
Okay.
Sadduruttasya Anuvartanam. Follow right code of conduct.
Okay.
This simple way to address all PhDs. Very
Okay.
simple. It's not complicated at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me make it little more detail, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
It can be understood in 6 ways, or it can be approached. It can be approached in 6 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Which is let me take one by one.
Okay.
Shodhana therapy, purification treatment procedures,
Okay.
where cleansing or detoxing the body and mind happens.
Okay.
Using various herbs.
Okay.
Procedures.
Okay.
Let me simplify a little more. Using panchakarma.
Okay.
The therapeutic procedures.
Okay.
Like a therapeutic emesis, vamana, therapeutic purgation, virechana, 2 kinds of enemas, either as oil enemas or decoction enemas, the nasyam, the nasal instillation of drops, or the mokshanam, the bloodletting. These 5 procedures are chosen based on person's prakriti and the imbalance, current imbalance.
Okay.
Again, this has 3 approach: preparation, the real, which is called as pura karma, the procedure by itself, the pradhana karma, paschat karma, where the dietary and lifestyle correction takes place. So this is the shodhana therapy.
Okay.
The second approach is shamana therapy, that is the palliative treatment. If there is certain amount of doshas causing imbalance, then we can bring them back to normalcy to maintain the health. Okay. With the help of various massages like Kotali Sweda, like Shirodhara, like local procedures like Kativasti, Janvasti, Shirovasti, giving some of the kashayam, the decoctions, lehyam, the liquids, the churnam, the powder, the tablets or pills. Okay. Plus a dosha pacifying diet. Okay. Like if a person is vata prakriti predominant, from a vata disorder. For example, if a person is feeling low, let us consider like that, then the diet will be warm, easily digestible, and it will contain some ghee to support him. Okay. These are the shamana therapies. Okay. The third way to address the psycho PhDs is nidana parivarjana. Avoiding disease causing or aggravating factors. Okay. Let me take an example from Shreyas. Most guests who come here have psychosomatic issues.
Okay.
By saying that, we do not provide TVs in their cottages, so
Oh,
that overuse of screen time can be reduced. We also
okay.
advise them not to use their electronic gadgets so that screen time can be further reduced.
Okay.
This is the perfect, and we do not provide newspapers.
Okay.
So that this is a perfect example for Nidana Parivarjana.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see closely, for most of the people, we get exposed nowadays to so many things because of media.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Or newspaper or electronic gadgets or whatever. So if we avoid that for some time at least,
Mm-hmm.
we give enough time
Mm.
for the things to settle down.
Right.
The fourth important treatment modality is Sattvavajaya, the Ayurveda psychotherapy, which plays very important role in psychosomatic ailments.
Okay.
So here we again incorporate three approaches: Dhi,
Okay.
Virya, Atma, Vijnanam.
Okay.
Let me explain that with an example.
Mm-hmm.
When a guest at Shreyas comes for Ayurveda therapy,
Mm-hmm.
we start the therapy with a prayer.
Okay.
Lord Dhanvantari, a Lord of medicine.
Right.
One particular line, Loke Jararu Bhaya Mrityu Nasham.
Mm.
That means the one who destroys Bhaya, this scare or fear
Mm-hmm.
of Jara, the old age, the Ruk, the diseases, and Mrityu, the death. So the prayer itself contains that line, Loke Jararu Bhaya Mrityu Nasham.
Mm-hmm.
So now let me introduce this Dhi, Dhairya, Atma Vijnana. Dhairya is seeding courage in one's mind.
Right. Right.
Saying the prayer, what we are doing, we are just introducing some energy,
Mm-hmm.
is therefore to support
Okay.
and consider it as positive energy. So if a person feels there is some support, then it is easy. Then courage comes easily. So there comes the Dhairya treatment modality. D is proper use of our skills.
Mm-hmm.
If a person has Dhairya,
Mm-hmm.
courage seated in his mind, it is easier for him or her
Yep.
use his intellect skillfully in a right manner. So now we covered two treatment modalities from the psychotherapy of Ayurveda.
Right.
Now coming to the third treatment modality, which is Atmadi Vijnanam. Making oneself aware of his or her self-worth.
Okay.
Our yoga team put a great effort in this.
Okay.
In the various asanas, the meditation practices, the pranayama practices. At the end of these subsequent sessions, yes, makes them to understand their self-worth.
Okay.
Say. So this is Sattvavajaya approach to the PhDs. The last one, which is not very least, is Rasayana therapy, the rejuvenation therapy, which is also very important, where we use medicines and methods to nourish and rejuvenate both the body and mind, which is to prevent the premature wearing and tearing of body and mind. Both. So one more component is the Pathya Vyavastha. Which means the dietary guidelines.
Okay.
So this also, let me explain the dietary guideline treatment modality as a treatment modality. Let me explain with an example again.
Sure.
So if there is a person who has of Vata Pitta Prakriti, then we ask him to start the day with warm cumin water. Okay. In the morning as a morning ritual, so that he calms down, he settles down. Then when he goes to, for the food serving area, he gets the food which is warm and fresh, which is collected freshly from the garden, from our own garden.
Mm.
More important is, before cooking the food, a prayer is offered.
Mm-hmm.
The positive energy still remains there.
Okay.
Indirectly, it is not directly, but indirectly, we feel that will give this dhi and dhairya to
Mm-hmm.
the person. And we ask him to go for very mild yoga processes like hatha yoga for
Right.
5 to 60 minutes. So he will not overdoing anything. There is very good time for him to contemplate. So this is what happens in Patyavastha. You
Mm-hmm.
guide a person to follow certain guidelines.
Okay.
It's nothing but which can be translated as Patya.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How we have to address the psychosomatic disorder as a whole, considering the body mind soul complex as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, just to summarize, I mean, you spoke a lot, and I just took notes, and I just want to summarize for myself and also for the benefit of the audience. So you spoke about the body, senses, mind, soul connection. You also quoted a sloka from Asthanga Rudya, which said, "Avoid recognizing your insights, control your senses, have correct knowledge of past experiences, proper knowledge of place, time, and soul, follow right code of conduct." And you also said 6 different methods of treatment. I don't know whether I missed one. You spoke about purification therapy, awareness of self-worth. That was very interesting, and Rasayana therapy and dietary guidelines. Now, doctor, for a long time, for a very long time, I was under the impression that Ayurveda meant pure vegetarian. Now, after being in this space for a couple of years, I know it is not the case. Considering there is usage of a lot of ghee and on a few occasions goat meal oils, how do vegans and pure vegetarians go through Ayurveda purification procedures?
Let me address in by considering your one question as two questions.
Okay.
Don't mind.
I'm asking a lot of questions anyway.
No, that's that's good. So I thought I will separate it into two.
Sure.
You don't mind as vegan
Okay.
and pure vegetarian will be, I mean, covered in that a little.
Okay.
And I will take your pure vegetarian question as a non-vegetarian.
Okay.
And pure vegetarian, I will bring there also.
Okay. Sure.
Now come to this vegan thing. So most probably your question, I understand, comes from pre-purva karma of panchakarma.
Mm-hmm.
You most probably heard about drinking ghee.
Right.
Bring the doshas from periphery to the GAT and then removing through either Virechana or Vamana, most probably from there.
Okay.
Liters and liters of ghee to drink, not liters, some mLs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, actually, let me quote the real thing from Ayurveda texts.
Mm-hmm.
One of the preparatory procedure for purificatory procedures or Ayurveda detox is Snehapana.
Okay.
So, Snehapana literally means intake of fats. So,
Okay.
what are the options of fats available in this universe or world? Let us not say.
We have oil, ghee, butter, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, you are right. You're absolutely right. So let us classify under 4 classification now. Yes, you are right. Ghee, butter I will consider under ghee because it's the processing the butter and you get the ghee. Second, oil. Yes, you are right. The third is the animal fat.
Okay.
The fourth is the bone marrow.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Some fat. So, Snehapana, which is Purva Karma or the preparation for the Ayurveda detox, is consuming or intaking one of these 4.
Okay.
It is not only ghee. So, now if a person is vegan, consider a person is vegan. we always take into consideration before deciding whether to give. Usually, we give either ghee or oil, not animal fats, for the reason they are too heavy to digest, nothing else.
Okay.
Okay. So, whether to use ghee or oil depends on one's prakriti, one's state of imbalance or percentage of imbalance, the season, and in which he comes for the therapy,
Mhm.
and his ability to consume and digest them,
Okay.
fire, ability to digest and metabolize that particular fat. Okay. So, why we choose ghee? Most of us choose, I mean, Ayurveda physician use ghee because of the easy consumption. Because we
Okay.
are used in Indian outset, at least, we are used to ghee from the childhood.
Okay.
Tastes good. We have many varieties of food cooked in ghee. So,
Mhm.
you know how ghee gets digested in the body.
Right.
Easier. Body can understand because of the if not everyday use, because of the repeated use. But if a person, as I was telling, if a person has limitations, he doesn't want to take the ghee, then we go for oil.
Okay.
It's always easy. There is an option. So vegans can undergo panchkarma.
Hmm.
And it's not necessary. We do not give ghee to them. We always respect the food habits of our guests.
Okay.
Because it is clearly told in Ayurveda, if a person is physically and mentally well prepared,
Mm.
only we can introduce him to the Ayurveda detox. That's how these preparation procedures come into picture.
Mhm.
Adding to that, ghee is usually used in the people who has pitta predominance or
Mhm.
higher water predominance during autumn season, which falls, I think, end of the September to November, end of November in India,
Okay.
in these people. And oil can be used if we are using in the winters. If a person has vata predominant prakriti, and if a person has constipation, then we choose oil. Always,
Okay.
we always play with the dosage so that a person can consume and digest, which is very, very important in our therapies. So I hope the vegan part is covered now.
Yep. Yep.
Now let's come to the pure vegetarians. Do they get some treatments which contains meat?
Mhm.
So the straight answer is no.
Okay.
Do we use meat? Yes.
Okay.
Do Ayurveda uses meat? Because of the basic treatment principle explained in Ayurveda.
Mm. Mm.
सर्वभावानां सामान्यं वृद्धिकारणं विशेषस्तु विपर्ययः. The food and medicine which has similar actions and properties, when used, increases the particular dosha
Mhm.
in the body. Food and medicine which has opposite qualities and actions, when used, decreases the dosha.
Okay.
Let us give an example to simplify it. Say if a person has suffering from myopathies, let us simplify it, muscle wasting disorders.
Okay.
Little more simpler, poliomyelitis. If a
Mhm.
person has polio, we all know there will be muscle mass wasting. What should be the approach? You should increase the muscle mass.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what should we substitute? We have
Protein.
to substitute the muscle.
Right.
So, samanya, which has similar property. Now comes the meat into picture.
Mm. Mm.
Usually, we use goat meat. More specific, the thigh, the bone marrow in the thigh, that portion we use.
Mhm.
We cook that with certain spices and herbs.
Okay.
Sometimes with some oils and ghee. It depends. It depends on the condition. Then it can be used in the form of massage in the as a pottery. It can be given as a soup.
Mhm.
It can be given as an enema. Vasti.
Okay, got it. Got it.
These are the methods to use. So this is how Ayurveda uses the meat. Whenever there is similar to be taken into care, we see using the 5 basic element theory. Whatever is outside in the world, if it gets depleted inside in our body, we have to look outward,
Okay.
substitute. There comes the meat into picture.
Right.
But to be more clear, it contains all the herbs and spices and everything so that it serves the purpose.
Okay.
But for the people who are pure vegetarians, there are some similar substances in the form of herb. Similar case of poliomyelitis, if there is a muscle wasting, there are certain kind of oil which is
Okay.
called as Mahanarayana Thaila. It has an ingredient, I think, Jeevanti, all those nourishing herbs, which does the similar job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's not pure veg. Yes, if you ask, Ayurveda is not pure vegetarian, but it doesn't force.
Okay. Got it.
It can be practiced, it can be administered to all.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, doctor. Yeah, I have a couple more questions. Before that, I just want to check whether there are any questions from the viewers. Just give me a couple of seconds. Any questions from the viewers? Okay. Right. So while that question is coming up, I'll ask the question I have. Just a while ago, in one of the 6 methods, you mentioned about diet. How would you prescribe diet and lifestyle management for psychosomatic diseases?
So again, this for our easy understanding, we can split into 2, lifestyle and diet.
Okay.
Lifestyle plays a very important role when it comes to psychosomatic ailments.
Mm-hmm.
Once you complete all the treatment modalities
Mm-hmm.
and under palliative care,
Mm-hmm.
then under the avoiding the disease aggravating factors, then comes lifestyle management in the form of the first is dinacharya, following particular daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Brahmi Muhurta Uttishta, waking up early in the morning before sunrise. So
Okay.
we are increasing secretion of happy hormone in our brain. I hope you know the happy hormone.
Yeah.
That is serotonin.
Right.
It's very important for us to stay happy. One of the criteria to stay healthy, as according to Ayurveda, if you remember from our earlier discussion, that is one thing. And following a particular sleep routine, for example, contemplation before going to bed. The second lifestyle correction need to be done is called as Rutucharya, following seasonal regimen.
Okay.
Let me give one example there also. Ayurveda forbids day sleep throughout the year, but only during the summer it says if a person is weak, a person is feeling weak, he can take a nap in the afternoon after lunch. It's Rutucharya only in the summer. That is one example I can give. Then we were discussing earlier, which we did not elaborate, Saddhavrittasya Anuvartana, having right code of conduct. Like, what to say, a proper social, meeting the social responsibilities, staying honest, maintaining the hygiene. For example, let me give an example of a person who is very anxious.
Okay.
While eating, be mindful. Is the right code of conduct to be followed by that person for the food to get digested, more importantly, to be to absorb in the body. Okay. Now coming to the another very important aspect of lifestyle is achara rasayana, regimen. We all know we should not lie. we should be honest.
Right.
Adding to that, we should be rational.
Right.
We should possess the knowledge of time and place. We should be socially responsible. I was telling in Sadhvita also. So let me give one example from Shreyas now. At Shreyas, we have something called as community service, and we support an orphanage.
Okay.
So people who want to serve, to give back to the society, there is an opportunity to serve the children in the orphanage. That is one way of doing Achara Rasayana.
Okay.
Second way is giving back to nature. Again at Shreyas, the guests can go to garden, they can plant a sapling, they can sow the seed, they can water it. So this is giving back to the nature, which helps a person to stay satisfied that I gave back something.
Right.
Which again is very important to maintain the equilibrium, the happiness state of mind and soul.
Okay.
A senses without forgetting it.
Fantastic.
So the last one is not holding the urges, some of the urges like sleep, yawning, and withholding the urges like anger, greed, hostility. These things we usually guide our guests during follow-up consultation also are very important to prevent as well as to manage PhDs.
Right.
They are very, very important lifestyle management. Now coming to the diet. One is having freshly cooked warm food or Ayurveda dietary guidelines, which is explained in a simple term, Ahara Shuddho Sattva Shuddhi. The food which we take is pure. In pure, we can look in two words. The person who is collecting should have good mind. Person who is cooking should have good mind. Person who is serving should have good mind. And when we sit and eat, we should have a calm state of mind. Sattva Shuddhi, that leads to the clean mind. So that exactly what we do here. I explained as we explained you earlier. So Ahara Shuddho Sattva Shuddhi is very important. Now the second important aspect of dietary management is avoiding the incompatible food. What do you mean by incompatible food? Avoiding, for example, combining fish with the milk. Avoiding equal quantity, mixing equal quantity of honey and ghee is a wrong combination. Okay. Wrong cooking method. For example, using the microwave, according to Ayurveda, it doesn't fall under proper cooking. Okay. And taking the food in a wrong place, which is not clean, where there is lot of disturbances, either in the form of sound or whatever. Avoiding wrong timing, say using the curd in the evenings or in the nights or for dinner. This comes under incompatible food. So these are the dietary guidelines, and the previous one was lifestyle guidelines to address the psychosomatic ailments once we finish our treatment modalities. Then it's hand in hand. Fantastic, fantastic. So there was an audience question. I believe you pretty much covered in this particular response that you gave. The question was, how can happiness improve physical health? I believe you spoke about the serotonin creation, yes, by giving back to the society and the nature, yes, etc. The one that you spoke about, the food, right? So the person who is plucking and cooking and serving and eating should be in a good mood, and also about the incompatible foods. We have just run out of time. I have one important question I have to ask you this. With that, I let you go. So I got a lot of information today for the last 55 minutes. I took a lot of notes, and I'm sure I will have to go back and view this recording because so much of information that you provided. The important question that I want to ask you is, I have been hosting webinars for the last couple of months. The common question I'm being asked is, okay, all this is good,
But considering the current situation where one cannot travel outside to go and stay in an Ayurvedic retreat or to a clinic for treatments, how can one still get the benefit of Ayurveda?
So, Shreyas opened on June 15th,
Okay.
and we are receiving guests. Even they are going through various therapies, including Ayurveda, naturopathy. They are going for yoga through yoga processes. So, yes, we are open and we are already offering our services uh, as before with all COVID-19 precautions which are laid by government.
Okay.
And when they change accordingly. But all the services we started offering to our guests. Now coming to the guests or people who cannot come because of the restrictions imposed by various governments and various bodies. What we started doing, we were doing as a follow-up thing previously, online consultations, we are doing follow-up things, but now we started to give online consultation.
Okay.
So that we try to understand prakriti of a person, the
Okay.
body type of a person. We try to understand the imbalances of a person. Accordingly, we guide him or her through uh, diet and lifestyle guidelines. For example, we prescribe or we guide them to take certain herbs, certain spices, with dosage, with the form, and the lifestyle in the form of how many minutes of this kind of exercise, that kind of exercise, based on their body type and imbalance. And yoga team also gives consultation so that, and they also post videos. We also post videos. Naturopath doctor gives naturopathy consultation to take through food in the form of juicing or whatever is more healthier. So through this online consultation platform, we are addressing large number of guests who are not able to come physically to Shreyas and uh, take these services that we are doing. And we are also posting informative posts, videos on Ayurveda, naturopathy, and yoga on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, and all those social medias. And we always, when they connect to us through online consultation, we support them through WhatsApp chats or emails. And if some medicines are needed, we see in their area whether that is available. All this support we are giving, so they can always think about that.
Thank you. Fantastic, doctor. We exceeded time by 3 minutes. Really, really awesome having a conversation with you. As I told you before, I learned a lot. I took a lot of notes. I'm going to go through the video recording. And thank you once again, being our host and sorry, being our guest and taking us through an amazing amount of information, which I'm sure the viewers are going to benefit in the future in their own, also maybe coming in, going through an experience with this beautiful property that you have in 12 acres is amazing. I've been many times, so I think that's a place that everybody should.
25 acres.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, 12 cottages, 25 acres. Yeah, thank you so much for being with us.
Namaste.
Thank you so much. Right.
Namaste.
Still streaming? Once you see my picture, you tell me. I'll just stop it.